Hello everyone, it's Cheryl Millett here live at 5, and I'm just kind of rolling with FB here for a bit to see, just kind of jumping on after being busy. Wow, I know it's not Monday, it is absolutely Friday, so it's the weekend, and one thing came in this morning. There were some things I wanted to come in and talk about anyway earlier in the week, but I didn't have time to do it. So I want to talk about something that I actually watched this morning, a couple of videos. And this is my, it's not a friend, but I feel like he's doing so many wonderful things. If you're not already signed up to his email list, then Hugo Talks. And the video today was about loud speakers. Now, if you haven't seen these videos, there's a particular town in the Netherlands and another one in Ireland. And these are off-the-cuff videos, so to speak. Let's just trust and have faith in that. One person lives in this town, and the loudspeakers that seem to be attached to intersecting wires, if you can imagine a central place, but they're intersecting, so they're like in the middle of the street. Now, if I kind of come out here, it's saying my current frame rate is too low again. That's just what FB has been doing on here. But and you have a hard time, it freezes, then just watch the video afterwards, because it seems like it's okay live may be the issue, but then the recording, that is fine. So I'll carry on. And so can you imagine living in a flat, as they may call apartment, and you're in this town, and right outside, this person looked like they were, I'm going to put the video link below, maybe third story, fourth story, and right out their balcony is a loudspeaker that goes in different directions. You've seen these before, where sometimes they have them on a pole, though, right? And you have a speaker going, or whatever whatever those talky things are, going out in different directions. So then that's where the sound will travel. And what is on these, because it's in the videos, what's on them is, wear and keep your. And the one in Ireland was interesting. So I think the one in Netherlands, I don't remember the name of the town, was every 15 minutes it would come on. This is how we're going to, and this is how we're going to, and that was that. So they played in English. So some of the questions were coming through. Why are they playing in English? But if you are not already aware of, and you may be very aware of, many of these European countries, but not all, they speak fluent English, right? They speak fluent English. So that was interesting, and you'll get the link. I'll put it down below so you can go and watch it. It's not a very long video. And another video of somebody who's out on the street and was saying, well, here's the blah blah blah, and this speaker, this loud speaker in the middle of the street, hanging up, attached to crossed wires, and it is playing Christmas music. This is the one in Ireland. And then every so often it pauses and to come out and say to wear your and keep your, right, and keep this. So this is interesting. You may think you're in a movie here, but the idea is there's not going to be any let up in a lot of ways in many of these things, because that's all part of this mind. Psychological is the big word, but this is all part of that. So you can tune it out all you want, but at the end of the day, your mind is still hearing it. Your ears are still hearing it. It's like, your subconscious, you're still hearing it. And that's what happens. Whether you might have, any of us have probably lived in a situation or worked in a situation where there's certain noises, but you learn to tune it out as you're thinking or you're working. I remember we had one of the houses, the bedrooms were in the basement. It was only a bungalow, but so my sister had in the basement, and there was the sub pump. Yeah, sub pump takes out the water, which you have to, otherwise it floods. And so I mean, you just tune it out. Whereas people come and sleep over, and it keep them up, or they would hear it. I don't hear it anymore. So this is the issue. One person said, one of the uh, uh, boy, I'd be up there so quick snipping the wires off of that thing, and really what has got it done. I mean, you can't, taking in that information all the time like that. You just got to have that level of awareness. One of the things I also wanted to talk about is, the programming or the innocence. So is one of the emails that I sent to the political leaders, let's call them, but they're not just political, education leaders, the chief police, or those kind of things, is the idea of the programming that has gone on in Canada, in the U.S., and probably elsewhere after the Second World War. They call it M, and then K, and then Ultra, and it's all on Wikipedia. I mean, it's there for everybody to see. The information is out. And Montreal was the situation where there was the doctor Cameron, Ewan Cameron, and he was also, I think, head of or something, the International Psychiatric Group Association, whatever. And he, and then so right now, still, and for many years now, because I knew somebody's mother who was part of this program in Montreal. Anyway, it got exposed, but that was a long time ago. But this was done in the 60s, and then it finally came exposed. They got records, but there's still today people that are looking for compensation within the Ontario government and through Trudeau, and apparently through some of the people that have come forth and some of the reports that of what was happening and what they did, to get them disclosed. They were definitely doing electrocution. They were putting them in long-term sleep, and then with repetitive words and stuff, they were reprogramming their world, their life, what they knew and what they should be thinking they know. And this was all documented, but apparently the Mr. T, I'll just call him, was with lawyers and stuff being able to put on, as they call, gag orders. So they can't say anything. Here's your compensation. Be quiet. Don't want anybody else to know us. But this stuff is all coming out, and it's been coming out for the last few years. From what I understood this from before, years ago, but just going in for the email that I sent to actually look at what it's about, this new information surfaced, because now Mr. T is PM of the country, so to speak, and that's kind of there. So this is kind of happening, and really, if we kind of look at some of the stuff, it kind of brings from one generation to the next. It's not about genes. This is about ongoing conditioning that's been happening. The children, they look up to people, and we're not very good role models, if I have to say what I have observed of the younger children and their parents. Not very good role models at all. So you can absolutely go, I can understand why the bullying is happening. I can understand why the anxiety is happening at the levels it is. So this is almost like, take a deep breath and sit back and be able to accept that this is what's been dealt for how many centuries and how many millennia, right? Slavery is only the tip of the iceberg, really, at the end of the day. It's really, and it's still going on. Sex slavery, work slavery, the sweatshop, whatever you want to kind of paint it at, it has never left the planet. There's never been a pause in that whole thing. Sometimes it looks different, as criminals will do. They'll learn to hide it better. They'll know how to be craftier, but whatever it is, to get away with something that fits into the pain pleasure that people can get addicted to not look at life, to not be real and into reality with where this is where the peace and the kindness and the connected with nature piece, right? And again, it's been long-term happening all the ways it is. It's just morphed into the times, let's just say, morphed into the times. So I wanted to be able to bring back the remembering of this particular situation where we have groups of people, and instead of dividing is to come together and to have that compassion for the people, for all, again, the over the centuries and millennia of conditioning of where we're here now. If it doesn't feel good, if it isn't of kindness and blah, 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 we know it comes from that other stuff, and they get it honestly, right? It's not that we don't say anything, it did not, but it's there. So we have many situations today where people are relying on certain jobs. They're relying on certain situations in relationships for all the goodness it brings, but you have this one divisive event that's going on, and so people are choosing different things, and definitely there's going to be some hard choices to make, but the like-minded are finding each other. The like-minded are definitely finding each other, and I've been trying to find out through certain people that I'm, connecting with, Walk Club or just emails or, all different ways, where they're at with this situation. So I know this one particular person, she is not going to ever get this, and so again, they're speaking of isolation and but feeling like a criminal. So it's interesting to get the language that comes through. Comes through. I don't want to read it off in its entirety, but then I learned through asking questions, and then I'm just inviting anybody over who's like-minded, who feels like they're in that place of isolation and stuff. And one person's going to come over. The other person, she's got friends that are absolutely accepting of it, and so great, she's all set. But I kind of wanted to bring this up to give us all ideas, and for you to give us ideas, or me or anybody else, to find ways to come together. Sylvain Henry of Glorious and Free, wow, he's over in Ottawa. I'd be there in a heartbeat, in the sense of the events that they're doing. The kids play, bringing all kinds of ages together to play, but they're starting to connect on how they can help each other, and I guess you get to the point where what skills and this, so that you can help each other in a way that you're hanging out with like-minded. It's not so division, it's coming together. So I wanted to do that, and I also wanted to put out, I didn't go through something completely different in the beginning, but I just want to mention this quickly. One of the things that is an option for a lot of people, which I've been playing with in the last few days, is dark mode for the computer. So many people, I see them on the phone, and I'm going, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you read on that thing or watch shows and these little teeny screens. I really, seriously, I do not know how people do it. I can't. I spend maybe 2 minutes on something sometimes, for the reason it is because it's Instagram or something, and then I go, I'm done. But there's the other part of it is, so I'm on my desktop, is the dark mode that we have. I mean, there's the lighting, the red, the blue, and that's good for different times of the day. I think it's called flux. Anyway, I set it up a long time ago, and so the shift in the time zones, it goes to more warm, the red, which is why red is on the alarm clock very good, because the red light, you don't see it when you sleep. Although I sleep with, I put a mask on, so you can't see any light being in the city and everything. But at the end of the day, the dark mode is working very well. It's like my Word documents are in it now, my emails into now. I just decided to do it, partially because I think it was the Awakening You kind of came up, and it took me a little bit long to get to it, but I did it in dark, and I knew this about presentations a long time ago. Not to do them in white. That white is stark, it's harder on the eyes, and so I've been shifting. I shifted that in, maybe not the Awakening You presentation, but maybe one or two before. So all the darker colors, even medium colors, is going to be a lot better. But I've been going, I went into my email and to help whatever, and it's dark mode, and yeah, I was able to do it. And it's so much lighter on my eyes, even much better than that flux thing with the blue and the red kind of, warming or cooling kind of light. Even better than that. So check that out. If you're not familiar with it, dark mode, then do it. I've got it here and set it. I've had it on Facebook for a while. I've had it on my phone for a while. But I'm just trying to do everything, So now I got it kind of set up to the Microsoft. Anyway, I wanted to bring that up because the idea of so many people with their eye health and why they are needing to get glasses. I mean, it's this constant strain on the eyes while overusing it. I always say, go take a walk in nature. And it's the balance of it, firstly, more, but it's definitely habit. The last thing I want to remember, because it came up to me, is an idea, is to, and some of us will do it, some of us won't do it, won't matter, but there's no leadership on this. And some may have already adopted it, I don't know, but we have January coming up. And January is an interesting month. It's like we have the busy holidays, and for all the fun and festives, play and get together and social times that you can have. But January, I was thinking it to be a no compliance month. And this would be, yes, strength and numbers are always good. I'm not saying I actually know the ultimate goal in this, other than people becoming more brave, because more and more people understand that this isn't what it initially felt like, for sure. So comfortably, the world could go back to normal. Everything normal is what, what I mean by normal. I wouldn't want it to go back to normal, but in a sense of that normal, where nobody's wearing this, nobody's doing this, nobody, you can go freely for any businesses that are open to the public, and do all those things. So I want to encourage that, and I'll put some things out and some, I don't know, I'll put it on some pictures. I'm not going to do a whole lot, but the idea is, again, no leadership. I don't want to take leadership of this. If January can be the no compliance, which is you go into a store, and as I say, and I went into a bank. I mean, I told you this, I hadn't been into a bank. I don't normally go into banks other than the machine, but I went in and I said, I'm exempt. I just stood at the door and said, I'm exempt. And they figured it out. It's like there's more acceptance on exemptions for companies, because they understand that this is a real thing. Now, I didn't tell them any medical exemption, I didn't tell them anything. They didn't ask me anything. So on one hand, they may assume it's for a very, very good reason. But the point is the bravery part, because you can, and that's who we are. So that's why I wanted to kind of bring out more and more that this January, the month of January, not a day, not a week, but a month of January, where even two people can get together and go grocery shopping with no mask. So I feel it is simpler for me as a one person, probably as a female, probably as an older, gray hair, to walk into some place and say, I'm exempt. It's probably a lot easier. So I get that, but people can't even do that on their own anyway, right? They just, it's the comfort of level, but sometimes you just have to rattle change. You just have to rattle things a little bit, not just with other people, but more yourself. That's why the no compliance January, all of January, no compliance, can be a get to doing it. It can maybe a dare in some ways. However you want to see it for yourself, however you want to look at it. But the idea is when you hear about, I'm going to circle right back, about loudspeakers being in the middle of towns telling you what you need to do for whatever reason, yeah, it sounds all good. Of course, they're not going to give you the reason for it, although it's not correct or not real or not science, but they're going to do that. So it's up to everybody and anybody to decide what you want for you to do. But I'm going to continue because that's what I've been doing all along anyway. That's me. But for people who are into it already, are doing it more and more, and then others, well, it's about understanding that the reason you would be doing it is to help others see that it's not normal. It's not natural. This is not what this is about. This will give you every opportunity to say a compassionate thing to anybody who asks you about what it is. This is not what you think it is. And you can come up with whatever phrase feels comfortable. You might be more tuned to talk about the athletes and the number of deaths. Whatever it is that you feel bubbles up as far as information, you've got to think about it ahead of time. Think about it ahead of time. If you don't feel that in the moment it's not going to work for you and you're overthinking it, just come up with a couple things that you feel might help people better understand. But I would say you're doing it because you do care. You don't do it because you care to. Yes, everybody's doing things for the reasons they really, there is a caring aspect to it. There is a fear aspect to it as well, but there's the caring part for others. I mean, we heard a lot about that initially, right? I'm doing this for you. Where's your mask? You should be doing it for me. Those kind of things, even though logically they didn't make any sense. So the No Compliance January would be absolutely doing it out of a caring, in a caring way, because we need to be the light. We need to be the how can I say it? I want to say it. We need to be the it's not coming to me, but the way showers, there's all these probably different words we could use. The example for others, but again, it's absolutely done not to rattle people's chain and get them to react, but do it in the compassionate, caring way. And that is, it's what I feel right from the beginning I did anyway. Some people say, well, just wear it, Cheryl, because you're going to make people feel uncomfortable. I said, well, if I don't and I fall in line and I'm not showing them visually for their eyes to see that that is not the way it needs to be. That is not. So I did it for the psychological reasons, to show people, to have in their, whether people even know, I know people didn't even notice, to tell you the truth, but somewhere in their consciousness they are getting, well, everybody's wearing it, but oh, this person's not wearing it. And so there's a consciousness there that still saw it but didn't see it, if you know what I mean. Anyway, that's really what I wanted to come on today, especially the loudspeakers. So I'll put the link for that and you can watch. It's only 5 minutes or so, a couple of different countries, but I think it's interesting. Again, it's a new development. I don't want to rehash the things about these or that and what's the distance and the science or not. I'd rather speak to the new developments as far as where my time is, where energy is for people and everybody, to see how this is progressing, to see where it's going, to see where things are starting to change and shift. And the loudspeakers is definitely one of them. It's definitely one of them. The only other thing I probably would mention is just hooked up with a master of Qigong, and we're going to do a free presentation next Saturday, that Saturday, December the 11th. We're just putting things together, and it is in line with winter, and we're just going to talk. I mean, at the end of the day, there's some foundational information, understandings that need to be can to be brought out, just to be shared. That's probably a better way to say it, shared. Um, Awakening You, same thing. It's about sharing information, and this presentation will be about sharing as well, and just to be grateful for all the people that are sharing their information, sharing with other people, and sharing, did you hear this, did you know this, and it's really opening, bringing awareness, which is important. It's important. I still want to remind myself and everybody about the balance, your time, how much time you spend on the event, and time for yourself as well, all that kind of good stuff. So that's Live at 5 for today. I was going to do some puns, but I will be posting, so you can just go and watch on the page, my page. Dice, I've known him for years. It seems like 15 years, but not very well, but just due to some of the presentations that I had done on cleansing, and and we kept in touch, and so he's got some great material that he's coming up with. So kudos to him and anybody else who comes up with material. But I'll keep posting this. But anyway, look for his if you haven't seen them on my page. I've posted a couple of them. They're hilarious. And there's a lot of people hilarious. So give yourself a pat on the back for being humorous and having fun and play for sure. Take care, have an awesome weekend, and we'll see you on Monday for Live at 5. And just to remind you, all of these videos are on YouTube for sure. I've been putting, I don't know how many months now, on Rumble as well, but I don't want to participate in all of these different things. To tell you the truth, I will not be the person who's on every single platform that's existing out there. It's just not my nature to be all these tentacles out and about, too time consuming. And some of them are just on the phone, which I've already said, the screen's too small for me. It's just too small, and I don't want to spend that much time on there anyway. But I pop in from time to time on various things, and will here on groups as well, but not all the time. Absolutely not a lot of the time. And that's been my nature forever with systems and with things. But I can tell you that I have played some video games that my children have played in, and I can see the addictiveness of it. What did my children run? And I wanted to see what they were about too. Absolutely. And how they played with the psychology of it. And that was, I think it was Dragon City, and there was the Webkins thing. I think that's really the only two. Oh, Slithery O was another one that my one daughter was on. So I really wanted to go and feel the draw, feel the pull, feel the, oh, I could do better the next time. I can do better the next time. And so I can see that. I can see that absolutely. So I'm gonna wish everybody again a wonderful weekend. Have a wonderful time. It's your life. Why not? And we'll see you Monday live at 5. Take care. Bye for now.